Welcome to Mindful Pathway. This is our third episode, and we're here, as you know from previous episodes, to hear about people's journeys along life's path, especially when life can take lots of twists and turns along this journey. Some we're prepared for and some we aren't. What's interesting for me, and has always been an impression upon me, is how people can show up to life, no matter what's happening, no matter what they're facing. They seem to show up. They go on with their life, they press on. But what's interesting is we don't always see what they're going through. We see the smiles, we see the waves, we see them showing up. But who could imagine what they're actually suffering, what they're actually going through? As therapists, we get an insight, look into that every day. But for most of the public, you wouldn't know that. So we have a guest today that has quite a journey. I consider her a champion of life, and I think that's what we want to show you today, of how to face life when life throws curveballs at you.
Today we're going to be looking a little bit deeper into one of these unseen realities, and today we're joined here by Raine Chua, a mother, a partner, and a woman living with a life-limiting diagnosis of glioblastoma. I'm already feeling like flaring up. And we're really going to be diving into her inspirational story, where she finds her strength, the courage to move on, and also how you keep on living while grieving, and how you're going to be sharing these memories, these experiences that you have made in your journey with your children and with your partner. Raine, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing with us your story.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Such a pleasure to be here.
Raine, maybe can you take us back to the moment when you found out that you had a life-limiting diagnosis?
So I was at a board meeting. We were discussing funding. It was a big meeting. And the next thing I remember, I was at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was my face planted on the table. There was no time to brace, to break, the impact.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to the lady who accompanied me in the ambulance, I was wide awake. But there was something in me that was not recording those moments. So when I woke up and I saw my husband, I was like, oh, hey, you're here. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then later on through the scans, they showed that I had a growth at the right frontal lobe. Yeah. So I went through the process of getting diagnosed. We had to do a resection. So I had my resection done on 29 Jan 2024, about 2 years ago. So when I got news that it was grade 4 glioblastoma, it was really the worst of the worst, because it was unmethylated. There was really just nothing that they could do for me except to follow the SOC, standard operating care. It felt like I was handed a death sentence. Yeah, and that was just right before the Lunar New Year.
Really? So it's been about 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. So if you look it up online, what glioblastoma is, the prognosis for this condition is very limited, and it's very, very bleak. Yeah. So if you don't go for the surgery, if you don't go for the resection, typically people pass on within 6 months.
And this is the kind of sentences they were saying to you this day.
That's right. That's right. Till today, it is still incurable because there's no money in brain cancer research, right? Pharma companies would rather spend money doing the more common, treating the more common cancers like lung, prostate, right? Ovarian, but not the brain. Yeah.
So you're living now with this
Terminal.
diagnosis. Terminal, is that the right word? I'm trying to find.
No,
Is it?
terminal.
Can we say it's a terminal diagnosis that you're having?
Yes, it really is. It really is terminal. And I remembered feeling really devastated, but also really desperate. So when I saw my oncologist for the very first time, I opened his door. Hi, Dr. Chan.
Yeah.
And the first thing I asked him is, how can you buy me more time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because time, I think, in moments like this is the most valuable currency that we
absolutely.
have.
Well,
Yeah.
plus, as a mother, you were asking for not just you, but your whole family.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So he said, well, this is the standard of care. We'll go through it and we'll take it from there. So there was no promises what the treatment could do, could not do for me. So I went through radiation, I went through chemotherapy, and in the midst of it, I traveled, I went back to work.
You went back to work.
I went back to work. Why not?
Because
Yeah.
when we sit here in front of you and we look at you and we would never know what you are facing, how do you find the strength to go back to work? And maybe can you take us back to the moment, was this a clear before diagnosis and after diagnosis? And did that reshape how you see life and purpose?
To be honest, I was in a dark place. I went on a very bad emotional roller coaster where I would collapse into a heap of tears, you know, thinking about all the milestones that I'm going to be missing. So, like, will I be there for Henry's first day of primary school? Choking.
It's absolutely okay.
Take your
Yeah.
time. Take
Or
your
will
time.
I even be there for Laura's first heartbreak? I want to sit on the guy who breaks her heart, right?
And you're sharing this with us, and maybe to give our listeners and viewers a little bit of context, your children are 5
Yeah,
and 9.
Yeah.
So they're not teenagers who have left the nest. They
No.
are still young
Yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe then going to motherhood as a mom, as a parent.
yeah.
Did you talk to your children about this diagnosis?
Oh, yeah,
How
I
did you
did.
speak to your children about this?
Oh, yeah, I did. I wanted to be really honest with them. In our family, we practice honest communication. We try to be vulnerable in front of each other. So I had to tell them what I have and how much time I'm left with, possibly, medically at least, that's what the diagnosis is, right? And so they were too young to understand. You know, Laura is a little bit older at 9, so, but she has not experienced anyone who has passed on. So she's hearing this for the first time. And so I have to tell her that, you know, when death confronts you, it's very natural to feel sad. Because if you feel that your life has not been well lived, then it'll be full of regrets. But if you feel that you have everything going for you, beautiful family, you've got career, then you don't want to leave all of that behind. But then I also have to tell her, because we walk closely with Jesus, right? I have to tell her, you know what? This is just a new beginning. And I have to tell her that, you know, don't think of it as a full stop. That's going to be a next paragraph. And so when I next see you again, who knows, we'll be happy children again. No sickness, full of joy, no tears. Yeah, you'll be happy. You'll be a merry meeting, you know. So I was trying to share that perspective with her. Yeah.
Does she understand? Does it seem like she's understanding both sides of that vision?
Well, she tries to. So we have a lot of ongoing conversations. Yeah. So I did check in with, you know, her teachers at school. She's coping really well. Hasn't affected her in any way. And I'm glad. Occasionally she would say, I think I'm going to miss you, Mom.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. So then Marissa, you were talking about how time is such a precious commodity. And when I found out that I really had limited time, it's almost like, oh, now I know what my expiry date is.
Yeah.
Many people actually go through life without having that luxury. They don't know when they're going to expire. But at least I know. Probably when is the best before date.
Yeah. I actually can relate and understand that because I was working with someone with cancer before and I was visiting them in the hospital and they were quite at a late stage, so we were really trying to figure out, where is this the direction for the family, because everyone wanted to know how would he choose to keep trying the treatments or stop the treatments. And so in the middle of that process with him over some weeks and months, I had a dream. And in the dream, I was given the definitive date. I had 30 days. And I remember in the dream, I actually felt quite, not only at peace, but almost, dare I say, excited that I knew what I was going to do with that time, how I was going to approach it, things I would say to people. So I can kind of understand what you mean when you say there's a benefit to having some idea. Yeah.
That's right.
You're taking this positive spin on this diagnosis that you have, and it's so refreshing to see you smiling and you're taking so much joy. Where do you find the strength to find that mindset shift where you say, I'm going to take the best out of me knowing, like you say, expiry date?
To be honest, it took me a while to arrive, at where I am. I wasn't bitter or angry as to why I have this diagnosis. I didn't go through that. In fact, it became clear to me, when death is knocking.
Yeah.
Things that used to matter, like career, work, nice stuff, right? And all of a sudden, you're like, actually, these things are very trivial,
Yeah.
right? What's more important would be things like love, family, honesty. These values you hold a little bit closer to heart. And you don't take mornings for granted anymore. A lot of us, when we go through life, we just take it for granted that morning will come, the new sun will come, right?
Right.
But have we ever paused to think about what if that morning there wasn't another? Yeah, and what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
So then I told myself that this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity that I shouldn't squander. This is an opportunity for me to be salt and light to others who are walking the same path. So because I've gone through it, because I have personally gone through chemotherapy, I've personally gone through radiation, and I can tell you it's not pleasant, right? There is the hair loss, and because it's brain cancer, so I've had many boo-boos. Yeah,
But you've also mentioned you're helping others. You are an inspiration to the community, to other people who are facing the same life-limiting diagnosis. Where do you now find that strength to even be that inspirational mentor to these people?
Wow, that's a very big label. Well, it's not really like that. It's
I
just
see it
that-
like that.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So my oncologist, when he sees patients with a terminal diagnosis like me, and people are lost and they don't know what to do or how to come to terms, with their emotions and what's next, for them, and how is that journey going to be like. There are many things that people don't talk about, like hair loss when it comes out in clumps. How then do you reintegrate back into society? What do you do with that extreme fatigue? How do you nourish your body from the inside? Because when you go on chemotherapy, it's an assault, right? It's like detonating a bomb in your body. It's like who's gonna go first? Is it the physical body or is it the cancer cells?
Yeah.
Does that mean each day is unpredictable? You don't know when you could trip or get
Yeah.
weakened or fall or...
For sure. There are people who, feel extremely tired and there's no way they could, go back to work. So what I do is my oncologist would just drop me a text and said, oh, well, I have a patient who is going through this. Would you like to reach out and speak to the person? And so that's what I do. Yeah.
I hear that being of purpose is also important to you. You are helping other people to come to terms with their diagnosis. At the same time, you're still going to work. What do you see now is the purpose of your life?
Well, initially when I received my diagnosis, I was not only devastated but also really desperate because my kids were so young, and I was thinking to myself, how then can I leave a piece of myself behind? Should I upload my personality using AI so that they can continue to converse with me, right? Or do I do it the traditional way, get a wooden box, write letters for them for each of their birthdays? What do I do? And then I realized the best way to leave a part of me for them is to show up every day and to model what resilience is, and really to show them what it means to not throw in the towel. Yeah.
I think this is a really important part of your story, especially for others, because a lot of people think that they should protect a child from negative news or scary news, things they couldn't understand, so they'll keep them out of the loop. And so you imagine a child is seeing something happening, they sense the tension, there's some buzzwords, but they don't know what's going on. They actually feel left out. So including them, sitting them down, explaining everything, really makes them feel part of the family. Even if it's unusual, scary, they don't understand it, they will remember that as you included them all the way. So they'll always feel very connected to the family, I'm sure.
Thanks for being so nice about that, Glenn.
No, I think it's important people know that, because they really do leave the child out when they try to protect them and don't include them.
Yeah, but this insulation is not the way I would want to operate. I want to be transparent and I want to read as many bedtime stories to them as possible, even though I'm really tired and I want to get to bed. And I want them to remember my cooking. I want them to remember recipes for breakfast that comes from our family. That's the taste of home. So there are all these little nuggets, that I want to show up for them, because you're absolutely right. No amount of resources can give you the extra minute, hour, or day.
And it's something that many of us take for granted.
Oh, yeah.
And in a way, it's many of us need that push sometimes to say, we need to change.
Yeah.
We are an agent of change ourselves, and we can find that strength to have that perspective shift to keep on going.
So you were mentioning about cooking for them, and that just struck me as a great idea, because of course flavors of foods, the smells, that's linked to memory. That's going to be a great way for them to, connect in a way when they're making this dish again another time for others. So I just wanted to ask, what else is important for you to be able to communicate to them at this time, and even maybe for the beyond as well? What is it you're wanting them to remember?
Yeah, so my kids are really little right now. So I'm going to sound like a tiger mom when I say this.
Not surprised when in Singapore.
Asian. Yeah, I know, Singaporean. So I try to teach them little nuggets. I try to pass on little nuggets of wisdom, when it comes to play versus doing their schoolwork. And I tell them that if you play first and you do your schoolwork later, then your play is full of worry, right? And then your work is done in a hurry. So not good quality work, and you're not going to enjoy your play. So better to do the work first, right? Because you do it in an unhurried way, it'll be better quality, and then you can play knowing that I'm done with my work, and you can enjoy it thoroughly. So that's one. But also, I spoke about how then do I share more of myself with them? And beyond, toying with the idea of uploading my personality, writing letters. It's really modeling for them, because for children, you can say what you want to say, you can read what you want to read, but really they're just going to observe what you do. And so my key takeaway is this is really a great opportunity. You know, it's a key learning moment for them to see how I take on this life-limiting diagnosis and how I just move one step forward at my own pace. I mean, it's not like I'm going to run a marathon tomorrow. It's not that sort of challenge, right? But it's just waking up every morning, you know, showing up for them, give them a hug before, you know, they leave for school, and just really going on day to day, have them sit in when I have meetings at home, and really preparing the flavors, you know, that will remind them of home, or this is what mom would do, this is how mom would think. Just showing up and letting them see that just because I have a terminal diagnosis doesn't mean that I retreat into darkness, I retreat into solitude. But it's the opposite. It's an opportunity for me to reach out, to be salt and light. Salt meaning I can enhance the flavor of someone else, right? Light meaning sometimes when you're in darkness, you just need that glimmer of hope.
And I understand you also have a faith. So you've also introduced them to a faith.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you want to talk about what that means to you and how important that's been to you?
So faith really is having the confidence in what you hope for and the assurance in what you do not see. So that's faith. And you know, in today's context, in today's environment, there's so much bullying going on at school.
Incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
And I have to tell my daughter, you know, because she's in primary school, sometimes people do casually, you know, they don't mean it. I don't think they do. They're not mean people, but sometimes the words come out mean. And so you have to teach them. I said, number one, don't ever give anyone so much power over you. You are in control. No one else can make you feel lousy unless you allow them to. That's one. Two, dealing with difficult people. Now, when someone says something mean to you or they're being very difficult, it doesn't mean that you retaliate. It doesn't mean that you also dip into their buckets. That's not how it works. You know, just turn away or know that, look for a paradigm shift. You know, this person is probably feeling bitter or going through something nasty at that moment that they cannot express. So be kind. Be kind to people who are difficult. Guess what? One of these days, you could be the difficult person. Right? So it's just little nuggets of conversations that I try to have with my daughter every time she comes back. It's easier to have conversations with my daughter than my son because, you know, boys, nothing personal, but they are really unevolved. Like my son is either angry, hungry, sleepy, you know?
The basic needs.
Yeah, what else is there?
Exactly.
I'm listening.
But with my daughter, when she comes back from school, I would ask her, what is your rose, bud, and thorn for today? So rose would be something that you really enjoyed at school. Bud was something new that you experienced. Maybe you made a new friend. And who was a thorn? Or what was a thorn to you? So then, you know, because time is so limited for me, so I try to spend a lot of time having conversations with them.
And that is what they will remember, that you were present.
Yes.
They remember your wisdom that you have shared with them.
Yeah.
And
Just showing up.
Exactly, simply being there. And that is sometimes also what we don't necessarily do. We rush through our lives, we follow the hustle and bustle, that we don't stop to smell the flowers often, and we forgot what is really important in life. And as you said, with this expiry date, it really reshifts the focus on what are these priorities, what is worth living for, and what do I want to live for.
That's right. That's right.
How many people dread waking up in the morning and that, like, why do I have to, the alarm clock, whatever. But you gave me a whole different perspective. I mean, just to be able to embrace every sunbeam on the horizon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It is the little things in life that makes life colorful in the end. We have been speaking about your children.
Yes.
You have a husband.
Yeah.
How is he doing with this diagnosis? Because as a partner, this is also not just affecting you, but it's affecting your family. And there's, I would like to say, suddenly a responsibility that he has to step up. And how did that shift your relationship emotionally with him? How did that go?
My husband has a great sense of humor. So when we received the diagnosis, of course, the both of us would, collapse into a heap of tears, would just melt away. But then we would joke about it. He would joke about it. He said, you know what? God understands how much you have to do on earth. That's why he's giving you a break.
Wow, interesting. I like that.
And I was telling him, for sure, because when I go to heaven, I know that there will be a mansion and I don't have to share a bed with you. I don't have to share a bathroom with you. How great that would be. So we inject a lot of humor in the midst of the pain that we experience. But we, as a couple, are not the sort to think about how limiting life is, but how best can we make out of what we currently have. So remember me sharing with you that brain cancer right now for glioblastoma is really incurable. My husband is unrelentless.
Okay.
He refused
To believe that.
to believe in that. And he is like, whenever I go through seasons when I would scroll through photos of when my kids were little and I would feel sad. And he was like, guard your heart, Raine. Guard your heart. Don't let yourself be sad. People can die of a broken heart.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And because he was so unrelentless, he has given me so many alternative like vitamins. Yeah, so I'm taking a lot of stuff, and he has it all planned. When to cycle on, when to cycle off, and he is really kind of like the pillar that is holding the family together. And he would jokingly say to me that, no, Raine, you got to stick around, because if you go, I'm joining you. There's no way I'm holding this family together, right?
Wow.
So yeah.
So faith, again, another description of faith from him.
Yes,
I guess.
yes. Yeah, and with him, initially when I was planning, doing a lot of planning of what's going to happen when I go, right? And I told him, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Do you need me to write you a playbook for how to run the family, right? And he was
He
like,
says yes.
no. So my husband, he said to me with a very serious tone, he said, Raine, you've got to trust God to provide. When you are doing all these things, it shows that you lack trust in God. Yeah, so my husband is wise beyond his years.
Wow.
I think it's so important to have a strong pillar, a support
Yeah.
system, which helps you through this time, helps your
right.
whole family through this time.
Absolutely.
And again, back to faith, to have that faith that there is something waiting for you,
Yeah.
then that gives you that sense of relief. May I ask, did you ever waver in that faith? Was there ever a question of why me? And life is unfair, because you have been speaking of these dark times. And I'm sure many people experience these dark times where they ask themselves, what is life worth living for? Why am I keep going on? This can, not necessarily everybody has a life-limiting disease, but there's hardship that many people face. And with that, the question of many people don't know why they're doing it anymore, what to live for. Did you experience that? Did you ask yourself why you?
Less of that, to be honest. Yeah, when I was in a dark place and I was very sad, I was not sad for myself or for my diagnosis. I was sad for the people that I would leave behind. Yeah, because I was asking God, every day my prayer would be, if you have given me the responsibility to be a mother, please let me see this responsibility through. Yeah. So I wasn't bitter or angry, but I was really sad because I was going to leave the little ones behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I ask, do you sometimes catch the wave of your husband's faith and believe that it's possible to
Yeah.
move beyond this diagnosis and definition of it?
Yeah, I mean, we are just taking it one day at a time. And like I mentioned before, it is a medical diagnosis.
Right.
But honestly, at the end of the day, God is the one who knows how much hours you have, how many days you have. And because I am limited by my diagnosis, so therefore, everything that I do, I can give glory to Him. Right? Because He makes it possible.
Yeah.
If I was so capable, right, of moving forward on my own, then I would have nothing to boast. Like He would have nothing to boast, right? But because I'm so weak and I'm so small and there's really nothing much that everybody else can do for me, therefore I can say that it is Him who's holding me up when I walk through the valley. Like He carried me through, And I'm reminded again that yes, I'm a mom to my kids, I'm a wife to my husband, but I'm also a child of God.
Yeah. What's interesting and powerful about this is, I don't know if you know, but healing itself from a human perspective or a medical perspective, physiology perspective, the elements of healing, the important parts are knowledge of the outcome, meaning what you want to achieve, if your goal is to be there for your children. It's belief in the person you're working with, if that's a physician or doctor, or the process itself, meaning the approach they took, whether it's medications or something like that. But in your case, you have the added power, we'll call it, of prayer and faith, right? So those can take all of those and, just incorporate them into a much bigger power. So, growing up in churches as I did, I'm sure you've seen it in your church, they have plenty of stories, miracle stories, testimonials about overcoming amazing challenges. And so I believe anything's possible with the power of prayer and God, and it sounds like you do too.
Now, looking a little bit further, what wisdom can you impart on the people who feel that they're currently at their lowest point in life? What have you learned that helped you? What can you share that you, now knowing your expiry date, that came to you?
Well, to be honest, I don't wake up every day, like a squirrel ready to go. Even when you don't feel like it, you've got to remove yourself. So number one, identify and be honest about how you feel. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel a little bit worn out. That's okay. Acknowledge that's how you feel. And then you've got to tell yourself that how you feel is not what you are or who you are. That's just how you feel. So how you feel, you acknowledge it, you put it aside, and this is what you're going to do about it. And don't give yourself big goals. Start small. Make yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of matcha, a cup of tea, whatever makes you comfortable. And if you feel like it or don't feel like it, know that going out, getting the sun is good for you. So take a stroll, and as you take a stroll, be mindful about the steps, enjoy the flowers, look at the caterpillar. Yeah.
So this situation taught you mindfulness and how to be present, which is one of the greatest lessons we can learn, and how it's one of the greatest wisdoms is to be present in the moment and taking that moment in and being there with it.
Yes.
So it sounds like you've learned that and learning it every day.
Yeah, every day.
It is the little things that really make life worth living for. And I think for people who are suffering at the moment a lowest point in their lives, maybe do you have also any insights of what they can do? The first step towards their healing is to have that agency, to be your own agent of change.
Well, first you have to believe that it's possible, that while a day can be terrible, it can also be amazing.
Yeah.
That anything's possible. So you're staying open. So basically keeping yourself open to the possibilities and to that potential gift, miracle, whatever. And so the other thing is I like to do just as a hobby, I call it happy surprises. So looking for where life throws something amazing at your way. Because we all know how life can be unpredictable. We all know how many dark forces are out there, how many manipulative people and selfish people. So if we already know, we're guaranteed that's going to happen every day or often. But how many of us still kind of keep an eye open for that positive that's out of nowhere, someone did something kind, I didn't even ask for it. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see, that life is still capable of that. So tell me about your what we could call happy surprises. Where did something happen suddenly to you that you just went, wow, thank you?
I think a lot of it is not receiving, but in giving. So there is this book about filling the bucket. So then this is also another story that I like to tell my kids. I say that every one of us walk around with an invisible bucket, right? It's currently empty. And the rule is this: if you want to fill your bucket, you have to start by filling someone else's bucket. That's how it works. When you're feeling low, right, when your tank is almost empty, you cannot dip into someone else's bucket, because dipping into someone else's bucket just empties your own. But the way to fill it up is to do something nice for someone. So it's in the spirit of giving and contributing and not just receiving. Yeah. But this diagnosis really has brought my husband and I closer, right? I think spousal resentment is a very real thing. Because like what Marissa said, we can have many hands and feet, around the house doing stuff for us. But guess who's doing the planning? That mental load, right? Like, you need to go to the supermarket to get, soy sauce. But who tells you to do that? And how would the person know to tell you to do that? Because the person is planning meals, right? Looking at the cabinet, right? So all that planning is like a million things going through your mind. It's a running mental checklist.
Yeah.
So for sure, there would be some spousal resentment, right? As men, you go out, you bring home the bacon, that's it. You come home, switch on the TV, right? And you enjoy, you unwind. And then with a mom, it's always like, I have so many things to do, like so busy. Yeah. So
Have you offloaded that to your husband now?
oh no.
The mental checklist.
We're still very, very clear that the roles we need to conquer and divide.
Okay.
So the strategy now is he makes sure that I stick around so that I can continue to do the things that I do.
Yes.
So that's the strategy.
That's the strategy.
I love that. So your husband's job is to keeping you alive.
That's right.
Because
And
it's also in his best interest.
that's right. So for him, he would, go out of the way just to make me happy. So if I say, I feel like having flowers today, so he would go out to buy flowers, or he would look at me and say, oh, you look a little bit stressed. If work is a little bit stressed, take time off. And so he's constantly attuned to me. Yeah, and I'm very grateful for that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you.
The men in the audience are all waiting for me to defend them.
Yes, say something, Glenn.
All I'll say on the topic is that, and I definitely can understand what you're saying, because as we've said in previous podcasts, most of the women are the demographic for us, meaning they're the ones paying attention to the kids' needs, to the husband's needs, the family needs. So they'll be the one to call us and say we need help. So we know that the woman has the family in her view and her heart. But I know from talking to men and being a man that it's just a different approach that men take sometimes. They actually have the same greater view, greater concern, aware of it, but it's almost like maybe cultural perceptions have put expectations on the different roles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, for example, if a couple is sitting in a pool and a child falls in the pool, everyone's going to be like, "What was the mom doing? Like, why wasn't she paying attention?" Right?
Yeah.
And then, typically and culturally, it's been historically the way. Not so much in Singapore, but when a man loses his job, they say, "Okay, well, what's he doing about that? Where is he looking for the next job?"
Right.
So there are these expectations and roles, and even if we go back to evolution, back to the early days, hunter-gatherers. I mean, again, the men would be out in the field hunting and doing some of the more physical tasks, while the women are taking care of the family within the village, so to speak, connecting with all the community, knowing what's going on inside the village. But the men are out learning that art of hunting and how to. So there's kind of these expectations. There's some physical reasons why we take different roles. But by and large, I think men do tend to allow someone to step in and take over if they don't have a boundary, if they don't push back, if they don't say, "Hey, I need this to be fair, I need more help, contribution." So you're right to say that it's about the boundary, about expressing that when you need help,
So it's really important to communicate as a couple. If you're unhappy about something, don't hold it in, because when you hold it in, your spouse actually does not know that you're unhappy, and you are just carrying around a bag of rotten eggs with you. It doesn't affect anyone but
Just
you.
you.
Yeah.
Just you. He won't know about it.
Absolutely.
So it's very important to talk about it. But also, Glenn, I'm so glad you brought up this point about expectations. I don't know, have you guys heard of this saying that the key to a happy marriage is low expectations?
I have, yes.
Speaking as couples counselors here.
Right.
Yeah, so I think sometimes people go in with a very long checklist and expectations, but it's not communicated to the other party. So back to communication, if you expect certain things, talk about it and see if it's realistic. Yeah.
But I also encourage couples to have expectations. I mean, if you think about it, a young girl had her dreams of her life, her future. Her parents had those interests in their view as well, so they prepared her for life and gave her things to get on track for her dreams. And then whoever she meets should have a responsibility, should take that to heart and know that this is someone's life, this is someone's dream, this is, they had choices. I should be responsible with this choice. So I think it's actually good to have expectations as well, if you know what I mean.
Yes, absolutely.
And be responsible to each other.
Absolutely, I totally agree. But being mindful of time, I want you to leave our listeners with your biggest inspiration for them.
Biggest inspiration? I don't know. This is a hard one. When I had my diagnosis, I was thinking to myself, gosh, this expiry date is nearing, and it's nearing so soon, so fast. But then when I go back to the Bible, when Jesus went to the cross, he was only in his early 30s. But look at the impact that he left behind. Look at the lives and the hearts of people that he has touched. So it's not how much time you have, because people may have a lot of time, but they squander it. It's not wisely used. So make the best out of every day that you have got.
Okay.
Yeah, really, truly, yeah. So if you need to work, just show up at work. Show up with a gladful heart. Because you know something? There are plenty of people out there who yearn for the opportunity to work. And yet that opportunity is not given to them.
Yeah.
Children yearn to be in school, to learn. And yet they don't have that luxury. They are asked to work in the fields, right? Water that comes out from the tap, don't take it for granted. Because years of planning, People have to work by, sweating, toiling, right, by the sweat of their brows to build the infrastructure. So you get clean water out of your tap.
So to be grateful for all of these things that
Absolutely.
make life worth living.
Absolutely. All the small things, Marissa, as you rightly pointed out, don't take it for granted. Yeah, the best is yet to be.
The best is yet to come. And last but not least...
Well,
Yes.
Okay.
just tagging on to that, let me just say one thing. As I mentioned in the beginning, that I tend to see people go through life and face challenges, and I look at them as champions. And one of the things we want to do as parents is to teach our children how to realize what life is about. And one of the purposes of life, in a way, is to keep living. It's to live it, and show up to it. And so I just want to, say thank you for what you've done to help other people, inspire people, just talking about what you're going through and not keeping it a secret, letting people know. That's a great message to show adults, our children, your children. And just want to say thank you for that.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. But last but not least, if you have the opportunity to leave a message right now to your children that they maybe get to see in 5 or 10 years, when they have a better understanding of who you are, what happened to you, what would you tell them?
I would just tell them that I love them to the moon and back. They know it, and I'll see them again.
Thank you so much, Raine, for your story. Thank you so much. And thank you once again to all of our listeners. This is Mindful Pathway.